Hello, 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 hello. This is episode 2 of the OverDubs podcast. I am Austin Kidoff, your host, producer, and awkward personality. With me today is Mr. Chris Pendergraft. He's the drummer for Tumera. Did you guys drop the Divine, right?
Yeah, we dropped Divine not too long ago.
Or drummer for Tumera. And yeah, just some dude I hang around sometimes. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
How's it going?
It's going. I'm doing pretty all right. Got my Civic fixed up a couple weeks ago. Brought that here just because why not? How are you doing?
Going through it, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm fucking exhausted.
I don't even know why I brought my Civic into this as a music podcast, damn it.
Are we going to talk about the Civic?
We don't have to. I don't really know what else to say about
All right.
it. Besides, I got it running a little bit. Shout out to Charlie.
Is this the
for
same
helping
one that
me
you
out.
were talking about a couple years ago?
No, that was an Integra, and that thing's long gone.
What was wrong with it?
I don't even know,
Everything.
man. Like, it just quit working one day. I thought it might have been the head gasket, so I, tried tearing it apart a couple times, and I got it started again. It would run. It just wouldn't move. Like, even the dude I sold it to still has no idea what's wrong with it.
Shit.
Yeah, I learned a little bit, though. Helped me with the Civic.
Fuck yeah, there you go. So, how long you been doing Tumera?
Man, probably pushing 8 years now. It'll be 8 years come November.
Christ, I thought you guys have only been doing that for about 5.
Nah, I mean, we would drop music for a few years once we got on track with that. But yeah, they formed up a little bit before I joined up. And like towards the end of 2013, I think it was, it was towards the end of 2013 because I graduated high school. And I think it was actually the night that the actor Paul Walker died. I was at my buddy Brandon's house, and he told me, hey, I heard Zarb started a band. They're looking for a drummer. And I was like, no kidding. So he looked up a couple of their really old videos. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely hear a drum beat to this. So I just posted on Zarb's Facebook page one day, like, yo, heard you're looking for a drummer. He's like, yeah, man, swing by, try it out. I'm like, all right, cool. And
See, that's funny because that's actually how I met Zarbs too. Because you guys remember we were doing those jams at the band house like a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to start a band and I needed a drummer, and Zarbs kind of knows how to play drums, so he fucking hit me up like, "Hey, you guys looking for a drummer?" Like, yeah, all right.
Heck yeah.
No, you guys are the bane of my fucking existence. Every time I need a drummer, they just disappear. They're nowhere to be found. And then, all right, I'm not going to start a band. All right, drummers, come back. So.
Yeah, I heard finding a drummer's not too easy to do, unfortunately.
And singers.
Yeah. Find someone that could sing. Find anyone that could play an instrument and, just pick up on it and learn it and vibe with it. Like, it doesn't sound easy. Like, I feel lucky finding who I found.
So what got you, why drums? Like, what drew you? Did you have, little moments there where you're like, fuck, that's what I want to do?
Well, my dad, he's played drums since before I was born. And he bought me a drum kit back when I was in, 5th grade. But I didn't touch it for years. I still lived in town. I was trying to skateboard. I mainly just rode a skateboard just to ride it. But just skateboard and ride my bike, hang out with my friends. And then, we moved out of the country when I was in 8th grade. And I just set them up in the machine shed one day and just started kind of having at it. And I actually played music beforehand from 3rd or 4th grade up to senior year. I played an orchestra. I played violin. And,
Shit, really?
Yeah. I just wasn't feeling the passion for that anymore, though, and I didn't really practice much on my own. I just kind of did it at school, and it was that kind of thing. But, I don't know, something about drums just kind of pulled me in once I started playing them. And then same with, just music in general. Just always had an ear for music and always had a fascination with it, especially metal music for some reason. I don't know what is that drew me to it. It just sucked me in.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because was your progression into the heavy shit, because nobody starts out listening to fucking The Art Is Murder. Nobody starts out there. You get you start somewhere and then you just progressively get more and more and more. And
yeah,
I remember, sidebar though, I remember when I heard Iowa for the first time, I was like, wow, this is heavy. I listen to Iowa now. I'm like, what kind of noob shit is this? This isn't heavy.
I'll still say Iowa's pretty heavy, though, compared to today's standards. I mean, newer Slipknot definitely mellowed out a little bit, but, they're still going at it. But, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really listen to Slipknot, funny enough. I always heard the name, and I heard a couple of their songs, but, I never really went out of my way to really check them out. And, I don't know. I can't really pinpoint where my love of metal really came from. I guess just anytime you heard it in
well, not even that, but with I guess what I was getting at with like music in general.
Yeah.
Like, were there any like songs or artists or anything that kind of drew you in, or not really?
Oh, that's a tough answer because I don't know. It's just been so long. Like I've
Word.
always liked the music that was in video games and stuff like that, or just like those quick little metal clips they might play in like like a TV show or something like a cartoon where like someone's freaking out and is playing heavy metal real quick or something. But then yeah, I think around like 5th grade,
Something just clicked, and
I discovered the show Headbangers Ball on MTV when that was still a thing. Well, I guess towards the tail end of when that was a thing. But yeah, I'd tune into that, like kick my parents out of their bedroom. They were fortunate enough to do that for a bit. And I'd like listen to that and watch the music videos and stuff. And yeah, I remember like The Air That I Breathe by All That Remains was on there. A couple Killswitch Engage songs I think were on there. Some song by In This Moment back when they were heavy and not a new rock band. I mean, I guess it was like the really only first stuff because I kind of mellowed out since. But just some like bigger metalcore bands like that. And before I even knew what the hell metalcore was, like years before I knew what metalcore was, actually, it was just like, hey, I vibe with Killswitch Engage, and I heard I heard one of their songs, My Curse on Burnout Dominator, because I didn't have an Xbox 360. I just played Dominator on PS2, but it has the same soundtrack minus all like the OG music they put into Paradise. But yeah, I don't know. I think those are the bands that kind of helped me fall into that hole, and then ever since then, it's just gotten heavier. And then one day I was listening to Last FM on Xbox, and I looked at Killswitch Engage Radio, and this is probably 8th grade. And, I saw the name Melodic Hardcore, and that kind of caught my eye for some reason. So I looked that up, and I was like, okay, it's like heavy metal music, but it's like, melodic at the same time. It has kind of like a beautiful essence to it in a way. And I don't know, something about that pulled me. And then I found like Misery Signals, Seven Angels, Seven Plagues, which is like a band that was before Misery Signals. Like half their members, when they broke up, went on to make Misery Signals. The Ghost Inside for the Fallen Dreams. And, it's just been growing ever since, really.
Word. What's your let's talk about drums. Like, what's your whole setup look like now?
Funny enough, my kit's actually a 7-piece, but at home I play at the 6-piece because otherwise I feel like just the way the two like little rack toms are, they put too much space between the hi-hats and the snare. Maybe it's just the way my setup is or how I play. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I don't know. I tried playing as a 7 for a while at home, but on the road I always took it as a 5 because that's just way too much crap to bring on the road, and I don't go too crazy on the toms to make it worth packing up all 7 pieces. So, I just do like floor tom, 2 racks, a kick and a snare, just like a regular, I don't know, traditional style.
Yeah.
But then I got like, I'll bring 2 crashes on the road, a China crash, a pair of hi-hats, and a ride cymbal. And that's my road gear.
Do you have double bass or?
Oh, yeah.
I assumed you did.
Yeah. There ain't no way I could play. We play on a single bass. But I have to have a crazy right foot and, wear out my ankle in half the time.
So you guys just put out Sinking in September? Yeah. September?
Yeah, September of 2020. We dropped that EP. And, yeah, COVID hit before, so we kind of haven't been able to do shit with that.
How close to done are you guys with whatever the next EP is going to be?
Yeah, we actually just got the last song basically completely written for that. We just need to finalize a couple lyrics, but, I keep meaning to ask the guys the last week or two, like, hey, now that Outlook is finished, that's the last song's name. That's the one we've been struggling to write with. That's the one that's been holding us back, because I haven't wanted to book studio time until the last song is, like, written front to back, and then...
Oh, so you guys haven't done any studio work, like...
No.
Well, just demos and kind of writing and shit.
Well, yeah,
more on that. Okay.
Demos on the laptop. We use Reaper, and I got the rough demos on my phone actually. Just like roughly to record. Well, Zarbs will record the guitar, and then me or Evan will record the bass, and then I'm getting lyrics done with Schmo. We need lyrics for like 2 more songs, and then basically like the structure of the songs are fully complete, and we're good to go on that end.
Zarbs told me.
We also just recorded a single too. We remade a song. I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but yeah, we had a couple technological hiccups with that one, but like we got that figured out, and we're just waiting to get some of these mixes back for that one. It shouldn't take too much. We literally just had to redo like a part at the beginning, and that was like the rhythm guitar, and then so that'll be a remake of a song, and because we dropped From a Year back in we dropped that right before we dropped the EP, and we just worked on another one from the very first EP that we're going to re-release and put out there, and I think we're going to do that in the very near future. I think that's the next thing we have set to release is release that remake, and then afterwards it's on to the next EP, get that recorded and finalized and all that jazz.
There you go. No breaks.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
I mean, it's been kind of a slight break. It's been a writer's block, but otherwise, like,
Fuck writer's block.
Oh my God, they're the worst, dude. Because you just want to make sure it's done right and fully through.
The most frustrating ones are when you have the idea and you're like, it's so fucking close.
Yeah, and it's
you can't figure out what it is, but it's so fucking close.
It's missing, like, another half of it or another whole part that just makes it fit. Like, that's my problem. I'll write like a half a song and I'll be like, well, this is all like solid and solidified, and I love how this sounds, and I don't want to change any of this, but like, what the hell do I do now? Like, there's obviously a whole second half of the song that needs to be done yet. And
dead air, yay.
Dead air. Woo!
Zarbs told me a couple weeks ago, actually, I didn't know this. He said he wrote the lyrics for the Vodka EP.
Yeah.
And the last Scott. I'm like, the guy just didn't strike me as somebody that wrote lyrics, but like,
oh yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, he had a good amount of songs finished up before I even joined the band. He had From a Year to No Eternity is probably our oldest one that we took from like way back in the day, because we have another like 2 or 3 from like before we recorded any music that we used to play live with, and like we just kind of scrapped those and ditched them. But we are we're actually bringing 2 of them back on this next EP. We're like rewriting them. Mm-hmm. Like there's elements of the 2 songs that we kept in there, but otherwise, like, the rest of it's pretty different. But there's gonna be a couple riffs that, like, any of the few day one fans we have, they might be like, oh crap, this is that song. Like, I haven't heard this in years. I thought they were done with this. Which, I mean, it's a completely different rewrite of a song, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing. But funny enough, the other one that we rewrote, I had like a melodic hardcore kind of riff in my head,
right,
for how to do that one. And I had that in my head, and I kind of jotted down, like, the loose note values, because I try to do that, just like try to figure out what note value is. And even if it's wrong, like, I still have like an idea of how it's going to go once I write it down, and then try to tab it out afterwards. It's like, oh, I tabbed it out and it's a C, not an A. But, to do that whole vibe. But I had this riff idea in my head, and at work I mashed it together with another old song we had, and I was like, wait a second, that the chorus for that old song can fit with this one, so we could like redo this one.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, because we already had the other one like set to like rewrite it and re-release it, and then I had an idea for this one. I was like, yo, what about this one? I dropped the song name in the band chat of, hey, we're thinking of redoing this one, or I got an idea to rewrite this one. And Schmo's like, not to be that guy, but I don't know if that's a song that we should re-release. And I was like, nah, man, like, hear me out. I'm going to record a demo of it and, work with Zarbs on this one, and then we'll see what you think. And then, like, a week later, we got it done, not even. And then, Schmo came over, we put it in the drive to him, and he listened to it, and he's like, yes, I'm in.
There you go. Fuck. Are you doing anything still with Destroy the Deserving, or is that on the...
That's definitely more on the DL, but I do have ideas for it. It's just I've been so focused on Tumera, because that's like the main set, is to like get stuff written for Tumera.
Well, you guys built that up, so you got to focus on that.
Oh yeah, Tumera is definitely my main project, but Destroy the Deserving is always on the back of my mind. I've had the one song written since like minute 1. I just haven't done anything with it. I should hit up the dude we did the one single with Tumera with, and get that ball rolling. But yeah, it's just a matter of like Zarbs and I are just so focused on Tumera, because he does a guitar for Destroy the Deserving. Well, he will whenever I get that ball rolling. He's all in on it. He's for it.
I've got so many fucking ideas just sitting there, and concepts, and like like concept albums and all this shit, and I'm just, this is just gonna sit here in my brain. So
at least you got a concept idea, though. I mainly just like write stuff just to like write it, and I'm like,
well, so do I, but I mean just like creative and like fucking storytelling, all that shit. Pink Floyd shit.
That's good shit, though. You want storytelling. That's like the main thing I hear from this one dude I follow on Facebook. He's like, you want to tell a story. You want to captivate your audience with something, instead of just like, putting stuff out there to put it out there.
Punching the time clock. Here's the songs.
Yeah.
And
But Destroy the Deserving. I got the one song finished. I got like another song in my head. And funny enough, New World Disorder on the Sinking EP we did for Tumera, or that Tumera dropped. I wrote New World Disorder like front to back as like originally Destroy the Deserving song,
Right.
But I had that whole like melodic chorus idea. And I'm like, I mean, this fits and it sounds good, but I don't know if it's like heavy enough for Destroy the Deserving. But I was like, you know what? I'll show this one to the Tamara guys and see what they think. And they're like, yeah, dude, we love it. Like, let's do it. I'm like, all right, hell yeah, let's do it up.
Yeah.
Like, I already got guitar ideas for it. You know, I know what to do for it. I got lyrics written front to back for it. So like, yeah, the song's done. Just here, let's do it.
I actually really liked In Syncing. I was chilling. I don't remember what I was doing. I was chilling in my house, and I just see the link to one of the videos, and you guys are out there playing in the fucking snow. And
Oh, dude, yeah. We actually recorded that music video like over a half a year before we dropped the EP. We recorded that music video in like mid or the tail end of February of
right before COVID struck.
Yeah, right before the shutdowns happening, maybe a week or two before our last show. But yeah, we recorded that. Like, you know, we always had the idea of like, yeah, we'll just do it under the bridge. And I don't know who brought up the idea of doing it in the snow, but shout out to them because that was a good idea. I brought my old blue kit out there. The blue kit in that video was actually the kit that my dad bought me.
Shit, really?
Yeah. I used to take that on the road to play shows with, and the guys are like, yeah, you need to take your red kit. And I was like, you know what, why not? It looks better. It sounds better. Like, funny enough, that blue kit's actually a fusion jazz kit from what Dad told me. And I was just playing metal on it since minute one. But the only thing I hated about that video was that the snow didn't look as thick as when it was coming down that day. But, like, it was still prominent. It was still there, and it still looked good. But, man, at one point, that snow was dumping. And I'm looking at the video, I'm like, there's still snow, and it still looks good. But, man, this doesn't do justice compared to, like, how cold and how snowy it was out there. But I'm really psyched with how that video turned out. But that was the first one we recorded, and funny enough, the last one that we dropped for that EP. Because we dropped the New World Disorder music video, like, when we announced the EP. And then, yeah, the playthrough video. Or, yeah, we had the lyric video made right before we dropped it, or right when we dropped it, something like that. And then, yeah, we filmed the playthrough video for Slippery When Wet, and then I just edited that one. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a hand at this. Why not? And
sidebar on that, when I heard that song title, I was kind of like, oh fuck, are they doing Bon Jovi covers now?
Man, see, I never really listened to the old stuff. So like when we already wrote the song and dropped it, and then people were like, yeah, you know, it's like a Bon Jovi album, right? I'm like, no, I don't know that. I don't listen to Bon Jovi. But, I mean, I guess, hey, it's a way of us to, like, you know, I don't know, put our names out there and put kind of a catchy name out there or something.
There
like
you
that.
go. You wouldn't be the first person to rip off a song title.
Yeah.
At least you're not Zeppelin doing all this fucking. We're gonna.
Well, in our defense, we ripped off an album title.
There you go.
Or like, you know, do a Greta Van Fleet and just rip off Led Zeppelin straight up, and then
go into the media and deny that you're. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah,
like bullshit.
Get mad when people compare to Zeppelin, which like Evan and I always joked about. Like, you know, how do you get mad at being compared to Zeppelin? That's kind of a good thing to get compared to them, if anything. And it puts that publicity out there for you.
Well, that was the whole point of their thing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. They knew exactly.
Everyone's acting like, oh, they just got famous on. Like, nobody gets famous on accident.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the stuff's always like planned out, right? I hate to bring up that one girl on Dr. Phil that turned into a rapper or whatever, but like,
I was just watching the Joe Rogan show, and it was the Dr. Phil episode, and I was just watching this like yesterday, and he was like, yeah, talking about it, and he wanted nothing to do with this. He was like, I'm so ashamed that this gave my show publicity. And like,
I don't know. I don't believe that for a second anymore. Like, there's been a lot of stuff getting called out about Dr. Phil lately, and I don't know. He's
no license,
shady character. Yeah, no license. And then on top of that, his show isn't like really therapeutic. It's more like, yeah, let's just bring people on here.
It's a slightly classier version of Jerry Springer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. It's like a classy Jerry Springer. But there's a podcast called Behind the Bastards, and they just did a 2-part on Dr. Phil, and it was actually pretty interesting. But it's called Behind the Bastards for a reason, because they always try to, like, you know, break down kind of a shady character, and it's kind of hard to see, like, on the surface that Dr. Phil's a little shady, but like, I don't know, man. He brought a 13-year-old girl on the show who, like, clearly has behavioral issues.
Right.
And just kind of the way he hyped her up, and, you know, the whole banter back and forth, and I don't know. On top of that, like, people are all complaining about, like, oh, yeah, this is who America looks up to, is this Catch Me Outside girl or whatever. And it's like, nah, I think Dr. Phil's kind of just as guilty for bringing her on. Let her act like that. And then, you know, it kind of helps this show, because everyone's like, oh, did you hear about that girl on Dr. Phil? It's like, I don't even watch Dr. Phil, but let's look up the YouTube clip. And then it's like, you know, he kind of like, I don't know, enabled her in a way. And she's just a 13-year-old girl acting out, so she doesn't know what she's doing. And then I heard, I guess there was an interview after she was out of that show, and she went to like some camp or whatever. It's like basically a work camp for kids to try to straighten them out, but it doesn't really help. But she goes back to school, and now she's like known for being this viral meme, and
she like thrives on that shit.
Yeah,
like that's. Yeah.
Now she's famous because of that. Now it's like, okay, now she kind of has a persona to follow in a way. And I don't know, it did more harm for her than good. But it sounds like she's kind of sorting herself out, which is good. I hope, anyway.
People wonder why I have problems with society these days. Jesus Christ.
Because you see how people get famous and you're like, what the hell, man?
What the hell? I've been working my ass off on this music shit. Where's
like, well, you got to be controversial, Austin. You got to you gotta start getting into street fights and cussing people out. But get canceled, but don't get canceled.
Yeah, do shit that might get you canceled by like the boomers, but not the kids.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? You gave me a fucking list.
Yeah, I gave you a lot of bands, and that's not even all I listened to.
I had to do a crash course like 40 minutes before you got here because my week's just been ridiculous, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna eat dinner. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta listen to those songs.
Oh, the music. Yeah, I sent you a bunch of bands. I kind of spammed you with a lot of crap. I didn't know what to send.
I sifted through them. I'll remember which ones I listened to.
Yeah. Like I guess lately what I've been into is like I've been on an Ingested binge like the last few days because
Ingested's fucking nasty.
Yeah, they're pretty damn wild. I don't know how Lynn Jeffs keeps drumming and isn't like dead or paralyzed from just how fast and crazy he is. Because man, I tell you, that drummer, he's been in there since minute one too. They've been a band since like 2006, and even then they were like they made music under the name of Asia Suffering like a year or two beforehand, where they had like a few songs they dropped like on their first album or on their first EP. But yeah, Asia Suffering was like a one release kind of thing, and that was like 2004, 2003. So like Lynn Jeffs has been crushing on the drums at least for 18 years. And same with all the other members too, because like they've had the same lineup since like minute one, basically. I don't think they have a bass player. I don't know what exactly happened. I just remember like their guitar player Sean, when asked about like, hey, where's the bass player? He's like, no, fuck that guy. Like I don't know if he did some shady shit and just didn't get publicly called out for it, but I mean either way, it's probably for the best because it seems like whenever one band member screws up,
right, no
matter who it is, the whole band just gets in hot water for some reason, and they're probably more than likely unaware of what happened anyway, but. That's a whole different topic.
Well, yeah, there's so much shit with... I'm gonna go on it because this just reminded... This is like not even related, but it reminded me of this.
Yeah, say
is that with the industry, well, it's kind of related with bands getting in hot water and shit, and people are like, oh, the art, the singer is responsible, or no, it's the drummer. I'm like, most of the time it's management.
Yeah.
Like doing whatever fucking management. I don't know. The industry is so messed up that 9 times out of 10, it's the band's managers that fucked something up and something got out or something leaked, and the actual members just aren't aware. I think once you get to a certain point of, like, for lack of a better term, like fame or success, that's where, like, a certain point of success, you just delegate all that shit and trust that they won't mess it up. But
yeah, well, I guess it depends on like the context of what happens too. Like, if it's tour dates.
Well, if it's like,
botched,
this like some band, like. Tour riders and shit are like rules for opening bands and stuff. They're like, oh, now I opened for them and that singer was such a fucking dick, or that band, or they were just dicks, and then it comes out the band never actually interacted with them. It was management trying to like do their thing and like, hey, this is our show and that's fine, but
and like sometimes like band members might get a little short with people, but like if it's like a touring musician, like they're gonna have their off nights. They're people.
If you're on. Yeah, people don't understand how fucking, like, I've never toured, but I've seen enough documentaries and I've read enough books from musicians and shit that it's exhausting. It's just exhausting. Like, you're sleeping 3 hours a night.
And like, I give credit to like, band members that do like to meet the fans and all that. Cause like, it's kind of something you in a way should do. If your fans want to meet you, why not meet them and chat?
Well, they're the ones that put you where you are.
Yeah.
You should
sign a couple autographs, but at the same time, if you've been touring for days on end and you're just strained and you're like, if it's like, just a quick exchange or not even exchange at all, because they just want to get in and out. Like, I can't really fault them for that either. Just as long as they're not like a total prick about it. But even then,
if they're like walking to the bus and they're just
flipping their fans off or like when Justin Bieber was like spitting on his fans and all that.
I didn't hear about what?
Oh yeah, this is like years ago. Like this is back when he was like in Florida. He was like caught spitting on his fans, and I think maybe a month or two later, he got that DUI for drag racing a Lamborghini, which, funny enough, I kind of respected him for, because I was like, you know what, you're kind of turning into a prick, but like now that you're like, you know, drag racing sports cars, you kind of remind me of me if I had money, because I'd be doing the same shit too. Like I wouldn't be spitting on my fans, but you know, like I feel like the kid got famous at 13. You know, it's like the whole Catch Me Outside girl thing all over again, but you know, is found because of talent, not because of goofing off on Dr. Phil. But I feel like, you know, stardom just hit him really hard, and then it got to his head. And then, like, I watched his roast on Comedy Central, and, you know, like, at the end of his roast, like, he went on there because he probably felt like he deserved, you know, get shit on for a little while by some famous people. And then at the end, he made a big speech just like, you know, hey, I understand I've been kind of, like, you know, messing up lately, and I let a lot of my fans down, but, you know, I'm trying to fix that, and I really hope you guys can forgive me. And it seems like he kind of turned around.
Actually felt bad about it.
Yeah. It seems like he hasn't really gotten any controversy or anything bad lately, but even then the press is all like, oh, he's dating this girl now, or he's doing that. And it's like, so what?
He just became like the guy to shit. I remember being in middle school in 2010, 2011, and Justin Bieber bad.
He's got that Justin Bieber hair. Like, you know, well, dudes always talk shit about Justin Bieber hair, but girls loved Justin Bieber. So, like, I don't know. I guess it was like an insult and a compliment at the same time.
It was just a modified version of the Scene hair from years back.
It was
just like, a shorter version. If a Scene kid got a haircut, it's Justin Bieber hair.
It was like the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody hair in a way. Like, I think they might have had the hair before Justin Bieber did, but I could be wrong.
No, they did. That show predates.
Yeah. I mean, they started off with like bowl cuts though at first, and then they like eventually, as they got older, and then they got like the whole Bieber hair thing going on. But then again, they could have that hair before Bieber did. You know, someone have to fact check me on that one.
No,
cancel me for not knowing the music.
You're canceled. I'm gonna go tell TikTok.
Yeah.
Fuck. That was funny. I saw a few months ago they were trying to cancel Eminem.
Yeah, because of his lyrics or something like that.
And then he records a song.
Yeah, like shit.
You're not gonna fucking.
Yeah, I'm not like a big Eminem guy, but I'll definitely give him props.
They're trying to cancel me, so I'm gonna go write a song about this.
Dude, I loved the whole beef between him and MGK because it was kind of like reaching in a way because MGK Eminem released that album and he kind of like took a slight jab at MGK for a tweet he posted back in like 2012. It was still kind of a fucked up tweet though. I don't know if you know the story behind that or not.
I don't. I tried to follow it and it just like
it was basically
I jumped in like halfway at like the peak of everything. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I mean, the tweet was definitely a hot take because MGK back in like 2012, he put a tweet up saying like, yeah, low key Eminem's daughter is hot as fuck, and at the time she was like 16.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
It's much. Like, okay, you're calling a dude's 16-year-old daughter hot. That's a little messed up, dude. But then, you know, like 5 years later, Eminem drops that track, you know, just kind of like shitting on people and rappers and all that. And he brought that up like really, really briefly. And MGK felt like, you know, just making a song, you know, like calling out Eminem about calling him out or whatever. And then, you know, Eminem dropped Kill Shot, which was a lyrical masterpiece, I gotta say. Like, and the way at the end, how Eminem takes like Machine Gun Kelly's chorus and just kind of throws it back at him was like the funniest shit ever the first time I heard that. But, you know, then you find out that they're both under like the same record company, basically. Like,
Are they?
Oh, yeah. I think the company Eminem was under owned the company that MGK was under. So it's like a record company that owns the other record company. And those.
Oh, one of those deals. Shit.
It's like there's like a little conspiracy around it where like, you know, maybe it's a little bit of media frenzy stuff.
Thing,
yeah, but even then, like, it was a good one. And there's all the jokes about how like MGK or Eminem knocked MGK into a whole other genre because now he's like dropping pop punk music. But I mean, it still sounds good.
Yeah, that's right.
It was definitely like I could definitely imagine being a curveball. Like imagine being an MGK fan and you love his rap music.
You're like, man, I can't fucking wait.
And then
this
all
next
of a sudden he drops Bloody Valentine.
What the fuck is this hippie shit?
Yeah. Look, what Megan Fox? What the fuck is this?
Wait, Megan Fox was on it?
Yeah, Jesus. She did like a little bit of. Well, I think they're dating. They're like like I don't know if you heard about that. They're like a thing now. Like
I didn't hear about that.
Really? That was all over social media. Yeah,
I might have blocked it out. I don't know.
I wouldn't blame you.
I'm a big fan of Shady, so MGK, I'm just kind of like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I don't really listen to too much of either. I'll just hear a song every now and then. I was like, yeah, I'll give him credit where it's due. But yeah, MGK and Megan Fox started dating like, God, 6 months ago or maybe a year ago now, something like that. And then, yeah, when he dropped Bloody Valentine, I didn't know about any of his new music until like a month ago, and I guess it dropped like a half a year or so ago. But Yeah, Bloody Valentine. It's like it's really just Megan Fox like dancing around in the music video and all that. I think she does a little bit of backup singing, but yeah, I guess like why not? You know, if they're dating, but you know, if they break up, that's gonna be a hell of a
It's
sting.
gonna be
there.
really fucking that's
like,
gonna
one of your biggest songs with Megan Fox, and you're not with her anymore. You'll just
Yeah.
be like, why? Unless she cheated, then you know he'll be like, oh,
yeah.
whatever, fuck her then.
yeah, fuck that.
I don't know. I guess
But
they're a
he
power
just-
couple apparently.
Yeah, they'll break up. All right, I deleted all the pictures. I deleted everything. I threw out all the shit she left here. And that song comes on the radio.
Oh shit, we got that music video yet.
Fuck.
But yeah, I mean, I've just been jamming Ingested lately. They're redoing their album, The Surreption, from like 2011, which is pretty awesome because they just dropped a new album like last year, and so they dropped a new album.
Shit, so
last
they're
year.
working really fucking hard then.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, the first EP they released, "Stinking Cesspool of Human Remains," or I think it's called something like that. Dude, they're old
I love
shit.
those. Yeah, that's
Their really old shit was super heavy, and like the lyrics are really, really edgy and gory and really, really fucked up, even for like super heavy stuff. And it's
Right.
funny because I listened to an interview like last year or something about like, yeah, they're really old lyrics and their lyrical change of direction. And their guitar player Sean was just like, yeah, you know, we were a bunch of young kids in like early 20s, late teens, just like, you know, hey, let's just make the most fucked up offensive lyrics we could think of and just offend as many people as possible, you know, because why not? It's heavy music. Let's just fucking do this, you know.
Have you ever heard of Infant Annihilator?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know this, but they're apparently they started out as a joke band.
I mean, I believe it.
It was supposed to like
I always thought
it
they
was
were still
supposed to
kinda like a
be it
joke
was supposed
band.
to be a caricature of the death metal bands.
Oh,
and all
yeah,
of that.
like,
but like it's
making
good
brutal
fucking
ass-
songs though.
Yeah, but like all their like lyrics in the first album are just like what pedophilia in the Catholic Church or something like that.
Some-
Like they got some fucked lyrics, like, and like Ingested's kind of on that level. And I guess maybe they kind of call it a joke band, like looking back now. But I don't know. I guess like their first album just kind of took off because they dropped their first EP, which they actually just remastered their first EP.
So that was in 2011.
Their first EP was like 2007, I think.
Okay.
2007 or 8, and I don't know that. I guess they just found the files for it one day and decided to remaster. So they dropped that back in like I think January of this year, December. I think it was January of this year. They dropped that, but anyway, going back, they dropped their first EP in 2007. They dropped their first album in I think 2008 or 2009, Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering. Then they dropped the Surreption in 2011, another EP in like 2014, another album in 2015, 17, 2019 or 20, I think. Yeah, they just been releasing a lot of newer music, but I give them props because you know they released a new album last year and they were set to tour that until COVID hit, and they still dropped the album though back in like I'm pretty sure it was last year. I don't think it was the year before they dropped it. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Yeah. So then this year rolls around and they remastered their very first EP, and on top of that they did a 10-year anniversary tour run of their first album. Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering back in like early 2020, late 2019, and I'm glad I caught that because like that was the last time they're playing any music off that. Because he used to play like a song or two, every live show off that, and then yeah, they advertised it like come hear this album in full and come hear all the songs because this is the last time we're playing any songs off this album. It's like okay, I'm definitely catching that, and I'm glad I did because I was like a month before all the shutdowns happened. I fought a goddamn snowstorm to get to Chicago to catch that show, and I don't regret it one bit because. That was a kick.
I think everybody's got those one or two shows where it's just like, I went through absolute hell to be here.
Oh yeah,
and I do not regret it.
I got a story for you. Speaking of,
yeah, let's lay it on me.
Well, I'll lay it on you after I talk about Ingested for another second. I'm a simp for Ingested. I'm sorry. Yeah, they literally just dropped the track like a day or two ago. They've been kind of hyping up, you know, like 10 years of the Surreption. It's like, okay, they're kind of paying homage to the Surreption because that kind of went under the radar. They didn't drop any music videos for it. A lot of fans just didn't really care for it or didn't really vibe with it, which I don't know why. I thought it was a damn good album. But yeah, they just dropped a re-recording. They're not remastering the album; they're re-recording it. Like
so just
redoing
full
it.
fucking like over like
Like front to back, they're just like changing. Well, not really changed up. You know, they're just redoing it instead of like remastering it. You know,
But
changing
even
the
if you
sounds.
re-record, there's gonna be like I've heard bands that have done that before, and they're gonna change shit.
Yeah, well, I even noticed in the song they dropped a song called "Manifesting Obscenity," and they dropped that like a day or two ago from when this was recorded, and yeah, it sounds good. It sounds thicker. It sounds heavy. I still love that original quality. Like it's always gonna have a place in my heart. And like I just noticed like even a couple spots, like there was like a different sounding blast beat that instead of like Lynn Jeff's like, you know, hitting the ride, he was like hitting the hi-hats instead and do like a slightly different one, but it still worked. And I was like, hey, I noticed a slight change there. You know, Jason's vocals sound, you know, totally different compared to back in the day. But the guitar riffs still seem like they're in the same spot and all that. But I'm really pumped to hear the rest of that album when it drops, because I fucking love that album front to back. And I think they're dropping at the end of July or the end of June, one of the two. But I'm going to snag a pre-order.
We're
on
almost
that.
there then.
Yeah, then they're literally calling it the Surreption 2. Like they made it
The
number
Surreption 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. We'll see. No, they're naming it with a 2 at the end, and they redid like the album cover. Like they kind of like refit it. They like changed the angle of like, you know, the screaming lady or whatever. I can't really describe the album cover, but yeah, they're doing that. And,
Wait, what's it?
I'm
What's
looking
it
forward
called?
to that. It's called the Surreption. Surreption, I believe. Yeah, they might have the single on Spotify. I don't know. But
I was just gonna go find the EP.
yeah, no, it's a full album. They got
Or album.
They got 5 albums now. I think 5 or no, it might be. Yeah, I think it is 5 because you got Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering, the Surreption.
Shit, that's not what I was imagining at all.
Yeah, that's the original album cover. The new one they got, they like slightly changed the angle and they like put their new logo like on the lady's shoulder, something like that. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's like definitely more of a change up to it, but it's still like the same thing though. But yeah, they got I was on Architect of Extinction. Yeah, then they dropped The Level Above Human. What was their newest album name? Holy crap! I can't believe I'm blanking that one. Yeah, there you go. You got your phone right there. I can't believe I'm forgetting the album name, and I'm such a simp for the band. Well, where Only Gods May Tread, I think is what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Just keep this open just in case. You know?
Yeah, in case I forgot. But yeah. Anyway, I've just been binging Ingested lately. I'm a huge Counterparts fan too. It's usually if I'm not listening to Ingested, I'm listening to Counterparts. They're like a really good melodic hardcore band. They're probably one of the first couple melodic hardcore bands that got me into that stuff too. Because I remember on Last FM, you know, when I found Misery Signals, I can't believe I didn't mention them back then either when I was talking about that earlier. Yeah, the one song that came up was The Reflex Tester by Counterparts. This is actually the first song on their first album. I heard that, I was like, okay, interesting. And I heard a couple other ones. I heard like a mellower track they have on that album, like Carpe Diem. It's just kind of like an interlude kind of thing. You know, and a couple other songs off that. And I was like, okay, cool. And like a year or two later, they dropped The Current Will Carry Us. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, and it's just been really cool because I've been watching them grow with each release and, you know, like get more popular and get bigger. And a couple buddies of mine that weren't really into them back in the day didn't really hear about them. You know, they're super into them. Evan, he fucking loves Counterparts. It's just kind of funny because like I had that one up on him because it's like, yeah, I knew about Counterparts before you did because him and we used to have like, I don't know, a slight beef in high school. I don't know, we used to talk shit back and forth, but I'd like bring up band names and be like, oh dude, that band sucks. And he would say it just because I like the band. And then like later on, he was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good band. Like same with Volumes, you know, you never really checked out Volumes. But then after graduating, I saw him post on Facebook, you know, sharing songs like, oh dude, this band's awesome. I was like, hey, I used to bring them up to you, so fuck you.
Fuck you, man.
With all due respect, fuck you now. Now we'll joke about that looking back today even. But yeah, Counterparts has just been awesome watching them grow, and every album has just been amazing by them. Like they're one of those bands where like even though they have so many lineup changes,
right?
They like still
they keep chugging.
They keep the same sound and they might mix it up a tad. Like each album kind of has its own feel to it, but it's still Counterparts, and I love them for that. Yeah, Counterparts, Misery Signals. You know, I kind of go back and forth between melodic hardcore and deathcore. I'm just a big fan of the both. Like, I love the super heavy shit and I love the melodic shit. Like,
I've tried explaining to people that aren't into like deep into metal as you and I are. I've tried explaining to them that there's these different subgenres.
Yeah.
And like grindcore and melodic deathcore, and then there's regular deathcore. And they're just like, what? It all sounds the same. I'm like, no, it's
it
different.
don't sound the same.
It's different. You can't really tell.
You just don't,
sometimes.
You just
don't
want to listen to it, so you just claim it all sounds the same. But if I were to sit you down and make you put
show
you
you
the
melodic hardcore to fucking metalcore to grind, like, yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah, I've never been a grindcore guy either, but
I've heard like 2 grindcore songs in my whole life. So
I declare war. Their newer stuff's all right, but their older stuff really hit hard, especially what was that album name? It was like their second full-length album.
Who was it?
Malevolence, that's what it is.
Malevolence?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, Malevolence by I Declare War. That's a solid album front to back. That's like borderline grindcore with how John Huber's vocals are, but they had an album beforehand. It was like the first like full-length called Amidst the Bloodshed.
Right.
And it's kind of funny because it was like borderline melodic grindcore, like, but like not like as crazy with the blast beats and shit. It's really hard to describe them, but they have their own sound, which, you know, is a good thing. But I guess they're considered like a deathcore band. But even though they have like a couple riffs that are kind of like melodic yet still heavy here and there, and the vocals are pretty grindcore because it's like you know, you kind of can't really understand much of it. But yeah, even then, John Huber still looked up to as a vocalist, even though he hasn't really done anything since he left that band. I think he dropped another EP with another band. He started another band back in like 2017 or 2018, I think. It was like him and like an old drummer from Enterprise Earth, like not old age wise, but you know, like when Enterprise Earth first became a thing.
Right. And
then the drummer left. I don't know if he had a falling out or what, but yeah, those two got together and someone else got together. So it's like a 3 or 4 piece band from like other people who just left other bands to make this EP. And they made this EP. They hyped it up. People got hyped on it. They announced like a mini tour, like a 5-6 date tour or whatever. And then all of a sudden, they just went on Facebook like, yep, the band broke up. We're no longer a band. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Have a good one. Like, that's literally what they said. They're just like, yep, officially today, we've broken up. Tour's not happening. Thank you to everyone who supported us. And everyone's like, what the fuck, man? Like, oh, this sucks. You guys kicked ass. And da-da-da. And like,
that reminds me of this guitar player. His name is Bumblefoot. And he just recently, like before COVID, he was like work. He was touring all fucking year, and he like his live shows. He does everything, like is like with like loop pedals with his guitar and vocals, and like he's just one of the hardest working fucking people out there.
Is like just him and a drummer? Is like
I think he's got a live band that he plays with, but like in like studio work and all that, like he does all of that shit himself.
No kidding.
And but anyways, like, a few weeks ago, he played his first show since COVID, and like, or it might have been one of the first few shows, and like an hour in, after finishing his song, like an hour in, he was like, there's a little bit of, in between songs, it's kind of quiet, and he's like, all right, we're done, like, bye, because he was gonna play like a 3-hour show because that's what he does, and it wasn't to be a dick. He was just like, he had this sudden epiphany of like, wait, I can be successful and not tour all fucking year. And he was just...
And not kill myself with each live show.
And he was having health issues. And
yeah.
Somebody I had on the podcast, actually, somebody I had on the podcast Tuesday is actually like friends with the dude.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, because he was in GNR for 8 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, and this dude that episode will be out. I'm not going to go into this whole thing because I just have to redo the fucking not even spoiler. I just have to redo the fucking thing and like, well, no, redo the thing here. Like, I'll just bring up all the points I brought up in that one and that'll be a whole fucking thing. But no, he had an epiphany. He was just, I can do this and not tour all year. And he was having health issues and shit. And he's just, I don't know. He's doing well now. He's working on music, but yeah, just an hour into the show, he's just decided, all right, I'm done. Goodbye. Have a nice night. I mean, and just went right off tour.
That's not nearly as bad of a story as from other bands I heard. My dad's like a giant Cake fan. I don't know why.
Who?
Cake.
Never heard of them.
They're kind of like, I don't know how to describe them. Like, I wouldn't say alternative rock. They're definitely like really mellow. But they got a couple songs you might recognize if you heard them. There's like, God, what's the one famous song they're known for? Like, I don't think it's called Going the Distance. Like, I don't know, it's something about like, I don't know, a race car driver or something. But you would know it if you heard it. But like, he's going the distance. He's going for speed.
I'll just pull it up on my phone. But anyways,
yeah.
Cake, you were talking about tour.
Yeah,
I pull that up.
Oh, yeah, my dad was telling me about how, I think he saw them once or twice, and my dad was pissed, because my dad used to play trumpet back in the band.
Was it The Distance?
I think that is what it's called. Play a clip of that. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one, actually, just hearing that clip alone. Oh, yeah, this is the song.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure it is. So like I don't know. I guess the main thing I don't really care for Cake is like the singer just sounds like he's bored the whole time. Like just always like he's going the distance. He's going for speed, like, checking his watch. Like, I'm here for the studio time, and that's it. Pay me so I can leave.
Checking that reminded me of that video where they're making fun of the David from Disturbed, that yumma numma numma nut, and he's just singing there. And at one point, it has him in front of the mic, and he's just yumma numma numma yumma numma. It was like Believe or Prayer or something like that. And he's just fucking saying, and he just starts checking his watch because he's. Just,
I don't know if that's like a parody because I know there's like the video. It's Disturbed's greatest hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that video?
It was. Yeah. It was that one.
Every song just making fun of that banter.
I'm not like a huge Disturbed. I used to be really into him, but not as much. But I have to give David props for not being like a dick about. He saw it and he was like, yeah, that's pretty fucking funny.
That is awesome. But like that means he could take a joke, and because I think he. I remember when Chester Bennington passed away. I saw like a post that he put on social media, and it was about how like. He heard Linkin Park and he was like blown away by them, but like he was just in the backstage just kind of talking shit to himself. Like I can't remember what he said. Like, I know this is not like really a politically correct term, so forgive me for saying this, but this is what he was saying was like he was.
I can beep it out if it's too bad. That's fine.
Well, I mean, it's nothing bad.
No.
It's just like, a term that's kind of not cool to say. But
all right, word.
He was basically backstage like singing himself before he got ready for his set, like making fun of crawling. He's just like, why am I so gay?
That's not as bad as I thought you were going to
say. Well, he turns around and Chester Bennington's standing right there staring. I was like, dude, I'm really sorry about that. Like, you're an awesome singer. I'm just talking shit to myself out loud. And Chester Bennington's like, oh, no, that's all right. At least I don't have to like grunt and, gruntle around just to get famous. And he started laughing. He's like, you know what? That's a good one. You got me there. Good one. Like, so he's a good sport about talking shit. And I guess, Chester Bennington was as well.
Nobody likes the musicians or celebrities or who, I don't care what level you're at. Nobody likes somebody that takes themselves that fucking seriously.
Yeah, like take a joke, talk some shit back, like do a little bit of banter. That's like the best friendships you got right there.
It's a musician thing. Like you already shit all over your own work. It doesn't really matter after a point if somebody says something about yours. Like, yeah, you got to grunt. Yeah, he was probably already shitting on himself for grunting.
So. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what you're doing, and you can talk shit about yourself. Like shit, like that's every friendship.
It's not music if you hate it.
Yeah, it's not even friendships if you're not talking shit. Like, everyone roasts each other every now and then a little bit.
I've been best friends with my best friend. I've known him for 18 years, and I'll just walk in and just fucking, what's up, dickweed?
Yeah, like, what's up, dickhead? Oh yeah, like call each other stupid names and say some shit you probably don't want to say in recording. Like,
yeah, there was some shit I don't want to get on the off chance that this somehow picks up. I don't want to get fucking canceled. There's some shit I said in the sixth grade that I probably shouldn't have said.
Oh, I mean, that's sixth grade. Everybody says dumb shit in sixth grade and middle school, high school. Like, you grow. Like, I was listening to Bill Burr's podcast. He told some bad jokes back in the day and all that. And he was saying, like, even then he kind of hates the whole cancel culture thing and being overly politically correct, but he sees where they're coming from. And he was just saying, like, yeah, I said some dumb shit and jokes 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, why did I say that? And he's like, he's basically saying, if you look back on yourself and kind of cringe at what you're doing 5 years ago, I take that as a sign that you're growing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like everybody's growing and changing. And it kind of sucks when, like, you hear about a story where, like, something got dug up like 10 years ago. Like, someone posted something on Facebook like 5-10 years ago. And it's like, oh, yeah, they should get canceled for that. And it's like, no, like, if they've grown from that and they're not saying that shit anymore, it's kind of a learning experience there.
Yeah. The fact that what they cancel thing, somebody puts in the fucking effort. We're going to go dig through this person's tweets. We're going to expose this and we're going to make this into a whole fucking, like, why?
Yeah. It wasn't a recent thing. It was back when the idiot was in high school versus like a different athlete. I think it was a football player or something. Logan was telling me about this, my coworker.
Right.
And this guy was like streaming, playing some video games or whatever. And he was talking shit to a buddy of his. And he dropped a word that you could tell he was hesitant to say, but he said it anyway.
Right.
And yeah, he got called out for it. He got suspended indefinitely for it. It was like a really bad term against Jewish people that, like, is not cool to say at all. And I'm obviously not going to repeat it, but yeah, he was like, oh yeah, you take that, you fucking... He paused for a second and then he said it. So it was like, he was thinking of not saying it, but he said it anyway. It's like, yeah, dude, if you're like already famous and this is a word that's like universally known that you shouldn't say and you still say it anyway, you're kind of setting yourself up.
Yeah, you're kind of asking for it at that point.
I guess if he makes enough money off, streaming on Twitch, then maybe he doesn't need a sporting
Who is
career.
this guy?
Like, I don't know his name. He was like a football player. This happened like a month or two ago.
Oh, okay. Word.
But yeah, I forget what we were originally talking about before we really trailed off. We were talking about
Oh
something.
no, we were talking about. We got into like. Hey, you said
I know I have a
we
story.
have we have this story about going like I went through hell to be at this show, and I don't regret it. But you said you had something on that one.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and we trailed off into something else. I had something else to say about that too. But either
That's fine. That gave me like 20 minutes of fucking meat
right?
on my thing because I'm watching the timer up in the corner there. Like, is this long enough?
I'm keeping an eye on that too. I don't care how long it goes. Like,
Word.
Circling back. So yeah, that crazy tour story I was going to tell you about. I had a day booked, or I had a couple dates booked. Well, not booked. I wasn't playing them. Make it sound like I'm playing these damn shows. So yeah, it was 2016. I think it was Summer Slaughter 2016.
Where
It
at?
was Chicago.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, Chicago. I'm going to call it Chicago from now on. Everyone else calls it like Chi-Town or Chirac. I'm going to call it Chicago. So yeah, there's a couple shows in Chicago. And, I'm going to make it a trend.
Not to be confused with Cabo.
You heard it here first, folks, Chicago. So yeah, there was Summer Slaughter 2015 and then the Common Vision Tour. And yeah, the Common Vision Tour was the first one, I think. And what happened was I thought they were both in Chicago. So I'm going to stick to this, damn it. I'm going to screw it up, you know me. So I drove to Chicago.
I'll be the first one. I'm just going to do some fucking,
Right.
you know the Vine with the roast. They're like, ah. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do once you slip up.
But yeah, I'm going to call it Chicago here, and I don't care. I don't give a damn. It's a joke. Plowing ahead. That's what Bill Burr likes to say. Plowing ahead. So there was two shows that I thought were both in Chicago back to back, like one day, then the next day. So I drive out to Chicago, and I got a hostel. I never stayed at a hostel until this time. But I obviously got my own room because I'm not going to sleep in, a bunk room with other people.
Right.
Screw that. Have people stealing my shit or whatever.
Watch over you while you're sleeping.
So I go up to Chicago and, I check in and I'm sitting there for a second like, okay, cool. I can hang out for a minute or two. Well, then I go to check when the show starts and I found out it was in Joliet. I was like, oh shit, and I look it up, and that's an hour and a half away. So if I took off immediately, I could maybe miss the first band, tops.
Right.
So I hop into my pickup truck and I leave. And because Chicago is in Illinois and Illinois doesn't give a shit about their infrastructure, there was speed bumps in the streets that I couldn't see because they weren't painted. So I'm going 25 down this road, down the side road, and all of a sudden just boom, I hit a speed bump, what the fuck? So I slam on my brakes, and by then I already hit the other bump, and I'm like, well, I hope I didn't fuck my suspension up, but that truck was a beast. I missed that truck. It was a 94 miles to B4000, 5-speed manual, I guess 4-speed with an overdrive, 4-wheel drive. That thing was sexy. I missed that truck. But yeah, it took the speed bump like a champ. So I turn onto the main road, and I start driving, and the light turns yellow and starts turning around. I was like, oh shit. So I go to hit the brakes and downshift. Well, I hit the brakes and my foot automatically goes to the floor, and then it starts slowing down. And so I downshift a gear, and I let out the clutch, and that kind of grabs, and use the engine to slow it down. So it's like, fuck me, my brake lines got blown because of that speed bump. So I'm sitting at that stoplight, and I'm like, well, I still technically have brakes if I brake all the way down, because this ain't the first time my brakes have won out. I had it happen on another truck too. But I was still in Dubuque, so I could just go right to wherever I went to get the brakes done. I can't remember where I got that done at, but yeah. So meanwhile, I'm in Chicago, a city that I've been in, a handful of times, and I've only been there 4 shows. I don't know where repair shops are and all that shit.
Yeah, right.
And meanwhile, I have to drive an hour and a half to Joliet, but most of it's interstate driving. So, I'm flying my way out of Chicago, and I'm like, okay, I have 2 choices here. I could either just drop my truck off at a shop and then, pout all night, or I could just say, fuck it, keep a really good safe distance between the people in front of me and, downshift and ride the brake, whenever I'm braking, because I mainly downshifted half the time to brake half the time anyway. Just drop a gear, let the clutch out, engine grabs it, it slows you down naturally. And then, while you're braking, you'll be fine. As long as no one cuts you off. And if they cut you off, slow down. Keep a distance. That was my main thing. Yeah, folks, if your brakes ever go and you want to keep driving, keep a safe following distance, a really safe following distance. I shouldn't encourage that. But I said, screw it. So, yeah.
Hey, nobody fixes their car shit at.
Right?
Right when it happens.
Well, meanwhile, I'm calling a couple shops in Chicago, and one shop was booked and about to close, and another one I forget what they were called. I think they were called Quality Auto. And this place was like a first come, first serve thing, which is really weird for an auto shop to do because you don't know what the hell's going to happen. Like, you know, if a bad engine or whatever. But these people were just like, I called them up and they're like, yeah, man, we open at 8. So, you know, just be the first one in line and we'll get you when we can because they might have a couple of cars sitting overnight or whatever. But yeah, so anyway, I plan on doing that. So I had that kind of loosely set up. So, you know, I make the drive down the interstate. I get to Joliet, you know, park there and all that. And it ended up being probably one of the best concerts I've seen. The lineup was, I think, Culture Killer. I think it was To the Wind and then Culture Killer. I missed the first band that played. I caught them at the very end. Caught the second one. You know, they were all right. And then it was Knocked Loose. This is like, I think before Laugh Tracks dropped, or maybe it was after Laugh Tracks dropped. I think it was after. But, you know, they're still playing a lot of their older stuff. 2016,
16,
I think. Summer of 16. Yeah, so it was Knocked Loose, then Oceano, and then the Acacia Strain. And I had yet to see the Acacia Strain, so I finally got to catch them, which was awesome. And then that was like the first of many other times I caught Oceano, or no, it was the second time, because the first time I caught them was like a couple years before, and it was a really short set because they showed up late, and they just had a really rough night that night. So I caught them again when they played in a really good, solid set. And, yeah, I met pretty much all of Knocked Loose after the show at the merch table, and that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I met, like, all of Oceano. Well, yeah, I met Adam Warren before Knocked Loose went on. He was at the bar just hanging out, because Joliet's, like, their hometown, Oceano's hometown.
Right.
And he was at the bar just chilling. And so I walked up, and I was like, yeah, man, like, big fan. I'm going to save the gushing. I just turned 21. I'd love to buy you a fucking shot. Or, like, I'd love to buy you a beer, a shot, or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't really drink beer. You want to do a shot? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I was like, all right, what do you want to do a shot of? I was like, I don't know, because I don't drink much. I don't do shots. I don't, party. So I'm sitting there, like, during the headlights.
He just gets you fucking tequila.
Yeah, I didn't get tequila. I used to mix Captain Morgan with Pepsi and Coke and all that. Not before I turned 21, of course.
No,
no drinking. I was
the
a good
OverDubs
boy.
podcast does not condone
no, we don't
underage drinking or recreational use of certain substances.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
none of that. We're good. We're good. Clean.
We're good, legal, law-abiding citizens. We're clean, sober musicians.
Yeah, musicians will never use drugs. No.
Yeah, no, they never do that. That's bad. Drugs are bad.
Jimi Hendrix, he just had an illness. Okay, he didn't.
Yeah.
Keith Richards is just old.
Wait, you're telling me Keith Richards did drugs?
Yeah, Keith Richards did drugs. What?
I didn't know that. Ozzy's clean though, right?
Yeah, I think Ozzy's
been clean. Well, he's probably clean now. But anyway.
Yeah, he relapses. He lets himself relapse every Friday. It's like his version of Casual Friday at the office.
That's when he gets high, is when he gets sober.
He's sober. What the fuck is happening?
I get to the bar and Adam's just like, yeah, you want to do a shot? And I was like, sure. I guess Captain. I guess he's like, yeah, I'll do a shot of Captain. So I order a couple shots. I go to pick them up, and he's literally right next to me. So I go to hand it to him.
Right.
And it slips out of my fucking fingers and spills all over the bar. And I was like, oh, shit, man. I'm sorry. I'll get you another one because I'm doing a shot with you, Dan. I was like, no, don't stress it, dude. I still got another shot. But then he told me a story about how he party fouled the guy real hard at a concert.
What did he do?
Oh, there was a guy front row at one of his shows, and this guy had like a giant mug of beer, and Adam didn't see it. And I think he accidentally knocked it over. Like, I don't know if he went to crowd surf real quick or something happened, or, something happened where he actually party fouled the dude and knocked over his whole mug of beer onto him. It's kind of a funny story there. But, yeah, I did a shot with him. That was awesome. And then after the show, after I met Knocked Loose, I saw him again and was bullshit. Or no, I saw their bass player. I saw Oceano's bass player. And I talked to him for a while. And his name was also Chris, funny enough. Well, it is Chris. He's still in the band, and his name is still Chris.
You can just kidnap him and take his place.
Yeah,
well, my name's Chris.
Yeah.
I
Hi, I'm
can't
Christopher
play.
Wagner. I play bass for Oceano.
I don't play a lot of bass, but do you?
I mean, I dabble with bass.
All right.
But
I dabble with bass, but my name's Chris, though.
Even then, back then, I didn't touch a bass yet.
Yeah.
I think I just started trying to tab guitar and shit, but even then, it was like, hey, Zarbs, give me that guitar. I'm going to try to tab something real quick. But even then,
he was raving about you doing that.
Yeah.
He was like, Chris will just sit there and fucking like, this note, okay, this note, yeah, all right, yeah, that note, that, like, he's like, he'll just sit there for 20 minutes and then, here you go.
I try to stay humble, but yeah, I'll write some shit. If I got an idea, I'm going to write it out, tab it out, and be like, here, try to learn this. Like, why not? Like, I'll put you through some tests. I don't know, like, because it's shit I can't play, and I feel bad, so I'll write a tricky riff. and I'll give it to him, and he'll be like, fuck, dude, this is kind of a hard one. I was like, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad. I was like, no, I'm going to learn it because I need to learn this. I was like, okay, awesome. Like, awesome. Like, I thought
Just fuck with him one day.
Yeah, because he gave you a total dick, just like, nope, not doing it. Fuck that shit. I'm not playing that. And I was like, what he could, and I wouldn't blame him one bit. But instead, he's like, no, I need to learn this. I need to practice. I need to get better. Like, I'm going to do this. So I was like, okay, awesome. Like, I won't say no. Like, but enough about that. Back to the show story. Yeah, I meet Christopher Wagner. I'm bullshitting with him for like 20 minutes. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm probably going to go out back and have a cigarette. You smoke cigarettes? I was like, no, I don't. But, I'll hang out. And he's like, all right, yeah, dude, you'll love this. There's actually a lot of the old members of Oceania here, too. I was like, no shit. So we go out back, and he's having a cigarette, and he's bullshitting with, some of the other guys. And it was like, yeah, I think their drummer, Andrew, was there. He doesn't play for them anymore. It's someone else now. But, yeah, their current drummer was there hanging out. Their old guitar player plays for the Acacia Strain now, and I saw him on the way out when he was loading. I was like, yo, yeah, Devin. I was like, yo, Devin, loved your work in Oceano, and I love you in Acacia Strain. Big fan of your work. He's like, oh, yeah, thanks, man. I let him run along because, he's loading stuff in and out.
Right.
But, and then on top of that, I was like, Oceano's old, two of their old guitar, or their other older guitar player, their old drummer, Danny, their old bass player. It was like a few of them out there just, hang out, having a good time. And it was awesome. And I talked to Danny, their old drummer, for a little while. And then, their newer guitar player, he was like sitting in the van just on his phone for a bit. And I chat with him for a little bit too. And that was pretty cool. It was an awesome night. And then, said goodbye to Adam on the way out and, drove home. I got back to my hostel at like probably 1:32 in the morning. So then I'm like, cool. I'll wake up at like, 6 or 6:30 or 7 or whatever, and they opened at 7, so I had to wake up at 6. I just wanted to get there early and make sure I was first in line. And so I get to the shop around like 6:30, 6:45. There's maybe 1 or 2 people waiting outside the door, so I was like, okay, cool. People already beat me here. So sitting in my truck thinking like, yeah, this won't be too bad. Maybe they'll get around to it, like in an hour, not even.
Right.
I'll be out of here by 10. I'll be good to go. Well, I go there, I talk to the guy at the front. They got my truck in the shop at like maybe 10. And finally they lifted it up and they're, replacing the brake lines. I had to weld a couple things too, I think.
Right.
And I didn't leave that shop till like 12:30. So the whole time I'm sitting in the lobby for like 5 hours or so. And yeah, it was kind of cool though, because a lot of the people that were working there, they were like, I hate to use the term immigrants, but like, because they're American citizens.
Yeah.
But, that I don't know if they immigrated directly, if their family members did, but the one guy at the reception counter, he was Polish, because like half the time they were speaking like Polish, then they'd be speaking English as well. So I like had to ask, I was like, yo, like I hate to ask this, but like what language do you speak? That's kind of cool. And he's like, oh yeah, it's Polish. I was like, no shit, like man, I give you props for that. If you come to this country, learn English and keep your native language, like
yeah,
I give mad fucking props to that. And he said, yeah, there's another guy who works here who's actually Russian. I was like, no kidding, that's badass. But yeah, I got the bill, I paid them, told them have a good day. And then I stopped by Wendy's, grabbed some food, run back to the hostel, and I eat. And I'm like, okay, I'm fucking exhausted because I moshed my ass off the night before. I had a late night. I've been sitting in a goddamn chair all morning. And so I go to Wendy's and I grab some food. And get to my hostel, I'm eating. I'm like, okay, cool. What time we got? Maybe make a nap for a couple hours. I also had to print a ticket out, too, because I forgot my summer slaughter ticket that my mom printed me out. So, I had to go to, luckily, the hotel, like a computer area to print one out in.
Right.
But, so I did that whole ordeal after I ate. I sit back down in my hostel. I'm like, okay, it's 1:30. Awesome. They probably don't start till 5. Summer slaughter will probably go on to like 3 in the morning. It's like 9 or 10 bands, like heavy-ass bands. And so, yeah, I Googled the time. Show starts at 2. I'm like, fuck me. But, it was like a 5-minute drive down the road. But I get there, and I get there, kind of scope everything out. It was like one local band that opened it up, I think. And then it was on to like the 9 bands that go on throughout the night. And
right.
It was pretty epic. But, man, at one point, I'm not going to lie, I had to sit down for a minute. I think when after the burial went on, I was like, I'm going to sit this one out and just, recuperate. But, yeah, it was an awesome time. Didn't leave that one till, like, 1 in the morning or whatever. I'm like, I'm just going to go straight to bed when I get back. So I got back, crashed out. Of course, the next morning, everybody's trying to use the bathrooms because, it's not individual bathrooms. It's like,
a shared fucking bathroom.
Yeah, like 2-3 bathrooms per floor. And it's like, Jesus. Anytime someone walks out, someone else walks right in. I think I just said fuck it and drove home. But, yeah, Carnifex, they were dropping... they dropped the new album. Well, they didn't drop it yet. They were dropping it like a week or two after, but they were still selling it on Summer Slaughter, which I thought was awesome because it's like, cool, I get to hear this before it's actually released and out there.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, I bumped that on the ride home and had a blast doing that. And then, yeah, that was a sick show, but it was very interesting time.
There you go.
Although I do have more of a bummer of a story. I think.
Lay it on me.
All right.
No, let's go.
Yeah,
I ain't got shit going on.
This was probably when I was 19 or 20, like 2015. I caught the Black Dahlia murder back in like 2013 or 14, I think.
Right.
That was a sick show, and I think that's what I think it was 2014 because they were on tour with Lorna Shore, and Lorna Shore used to be like a Christian metalcore band. And then according to their vocalist, Tom, vocalist at the time, he left a year or two ago to move on to Chelsea Grin.
Christian metalcore.
Yeah, they were like a borderline Christian band. And then Tom was like, yeah, and then
I just never wait. Dude, I'm not even high yet. But dude, I'm sober right now, but I completely blanked.
Well, you're always sober. We don't do any recreational things.
We don't. We're good Christian people.
Exactly.
So you said Christian metalcore?
Yeah. Oh, it's a thing. As I Lay Dying is a Christian metalcore band.
They are?
Yeah. I mean, despite
the band with the fucking singer that tried to hire a hitman on his wife?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's not very Christ-like.
Apparently they were Christian from what I heard. Skillet, they're Christian. They're like a Christian rock band.
I knew Skillet was.
Yeah, there's another band called Tesla. I think they're Christian as well from what buddy told me.
Fucking Creed. A Christian band at one point. If they're not, they're pretty fucking close to a Christian band.
They're Christian despite their singer losing his damn mind. But yeah, I think that's what happened to him. I think he just like went crazy. But
anyways, this bummer of a story.
Yeah. So yeah, Lorna Shore's playing. That's like right when they turned into a deathcore band. Because it's funny because I met a dude who like caught Lorna Shore before at that show, and he's like, "Yeah, they're a pretty good show. I can't wait to see them again." And they were talking to, the vocalist Tom, and I overheard him talking about how, like, yeah, he joined the band and kind of, like, borderline corrupted everyone, and then they got, like, a badass drummer now, too, and then they went on and played their show, and I was like, damn, this is, like, some progressive, like, deathcore kind of shit, but, like, good progressive deathcore, not, like, internet progressive deathcore, like, I don't know how to describe it, but, man, the Malfishium EP, like, that shit was wild, and they played that in full, basically, and then the Black Dahlia Murder went on. And I think it was them celebrating like 10 years of being a band or 10 plus years of being a band, something like that.
Right.
And so they played like songs off almost every album they had released so far. And it was like an hour and a half straight of just killer shit. Badass mosh pit. I fucked my nose up because
yeah, what happened?
Yeah. Oh yeah, just in the mosh pit, nailed heads with someone, got a bloody nose. It was like the second bloody nose I ever had from the show.
My first experience with a mosh pit, I didn't start going to shows until 2017, 2016. Yeah. For whatever reason, I just didn't have the means to go to shows until then. But I was at a Stone Shower. Wait, I told you guys this already. Yeah, Stone Shower. Yeah, fucking Stone Shower show.
Stone Shower.
In Madison, and there was a mosh pit going, and somehow I fell over, and I blink like once, and I'm up.
I think I do remember you telling me that.
Hey, you're awake.
Yeah.
Fucking Skyrim.
But yeah, those concert injuries, I tell you, just blacking out. But
I lost a shoelace too.
Really? You lost a shoe? I can understand losing a shoe with a lace.
But no, somebody it got caught. I was in a circle pit.
Yeah,
not the same show. It was a different show. I think it might have been Unearthed, but I was in a fucking circle pit, and I had like Chucks on, and the lace got caught under somebody's shoe, and right as and it just snapped the thing off. Man, and I looked down 2 hours later. I'm like, where the fuck did it go?
I'm surprised your shoe stayed on. I'm surprised you didn't lose a shoe out of that deal. Because I've seen a lot of people lose shoes. Like someone holds a shoe up looking around, and we're all like trying to point at it, and no one's claiming it.
Throw it on the stage. Anybody lose a shoe?
Oh no, I try to be like a dad at a concert. Someone falls down, I try to pick them up. Even if I'm not moshing, I'll be off the side like, oh shit, someone's down. Run out there and try to stop the crowd from trampling them. If someone drops something, I'm a tall dude, so if there's a short person holds something up, I'll grab that, hold it up really high, be like, yo, anybody lose this? Like trying to yell in between songs and shit.
Right.
Try to give people their stuff back. They always appreciate it.
Fuck yeah.
Metal's like a community. I love it.
Yeah, it is.
Like everyone's always looking out for each other.
Very accepting.
Minus like the whole like hardcore dancer versus mosher thing that happens in pits, but I mean, you're gonna have infighting.
Wait, what happens there?
Oh, dude, like there's like metalcore and deathcore shows where like instead of like just pushing each other and moshing, people like kind of throw their arms around and stuff like that. You might have seen it, might not.
You don't throw fucking elbows. That's like
it's like it's like a whole etiquette of its own there. but I guess it depends on what bands are playing and all that. Like a show could be dominated by just
Is
push
it like one of
mafia.
those things where like don't do this if you don't know what you're signing up for? Those kind of deals.
In a way, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
remember when I first saw that, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I've seen people like two-stepping, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But then, there's people like flailing their arms around and like borderline getting into fights and shit. Like, man, I'm just trying to push people and have fun, not flail my arms around and sock people. Because there's been some people that get knocked out from that shit. But, like, again, you just got to kind of feel the room, know the crowd, and, don't be trying to push people around if they're, hardcore dancing. Is kind of that etiquette, I guess. But
Yeah.
then there's the whole crowd killing trend that became a thing where, like, people could just be like, there's one thing where like these hardcore shows where people are like, swinging at each other in the pit or whatever, trying to hurt each other or whatever, like whatever, if that's your outlet, so be it, I guess. But, I have shitty health insurance and I'm not trying to get myself fucked up and pay for it. So
Right.
I'm going to sit this one out, champ. But then some of these people, they'll go to the edge of the pit where people are just trying to mind their own and, enjoy the show. And they'll start trying to swing on them or throw elbows at them. And it's like, okay, dude, that ain't fucking cool. And that's where some fights definitely break out. I was at one Oceano show back in like 2017, I think. It's the one I got my eyebrow fucked up at. I got my eyebrow gashed out when they were headlining during one of their songs. Just nailed heads with someone, got it cut open. That's long story short.
That happened to me when I was like
I think
I was like 18 months and I think I was doing a tantrum or some shit. And I fucking was banging my head on the porch, and my eyebrow, I still have a scar.
Oh my
fucking
God.
thing.
Oh, that's funny you mentioned that because my dad said when I was like a toddler and I was throwing a tantrum, I'd like be banging my head against the door. And these are like old, like thick oak doors. And I'm like swinging my
Yeah,
head,
no, it was the
crying
same
and
for mine.
screaming.
Like,
And then my dad saw me swinging my head against the corner of a wall too. And I'm like, Jesus, what the fuck was wrong with me? Like, kids are weird, man. But, yeah, that same Oceano show, I think it's when Spite was playing, or maybe it was No Zodiac, because they were like, one of the bands lower on the roster, opening up. They're like more hardcore sounding bands.
right.
And this one blonde chick, she was like just going nuts in the middle, whatever, flailing her arm around, doing whatever. She was kind of minding her own for the most part. Well, then it gets towards the end of a song, and she just like charges at this dude at the edge of the pit and just starts crowd killing him, just starts swinging at his face and shit. And this dude he didn't swing back, but he just pushed her ass to the ground like pretty hard. And, she didn't like knock her head or nothing like that. She
Right.
her back and kind of slid and gets up. And she's like, what the fuck? And her boyfriend's like, yo, bro, what the fuck? And he's like, what the fuck? She swung at me. What am I supposed to do? Like, so yeah, don't crowd kill. That shit's not cool.
Yeah.
But, and if you get checked, that's just what happens. Like,
Yeah.
if you're crowd killing people, it's consent,
Yeah.
Consent. Well, I guess
Consent.
it's hard to consent to crowd killing in the heat of the moment, but, read the room, read the crowd. Because there's people that have gotten, like, their faces fucked up from crowd killers and shit and had to get surgeries and stuff. And, America's healthcare system, it's really something special.
It's
But enough about
that's
that.
a whole other podcast in and of itself.
Yeah, not the podcast for this. This ain't the podcast for that.
You ever do a wall of death?
Oh,
You ever
yeah.
been a part of one? What's that like?
Oh, dude, it's insane.
I've only seen videos on YouTube. I've never like witnessed one.
I can't remember if it was Summer Slaughter 2016 or 17, but
Where are these? Where's that festival like at in Chicago?
what's it called? The Concord Music Hall, I think, maybe.
Okay, word.
I think like a bigger venue. But yeah, this one band, Origin, I'm pretty sure it was Origin. They basically did like a whole like political thing. Or like, oh yeah, if you're like a CNN watching leftist, go to the left side of the pit. If you're a conservative right-wing Fox News watcher, go to the right side of the pit.
Oh, fuck.
And if you're an independent, free-minded thinking motherfucker, then stand right in the middle. So like, the room kind of splits off in its own thing. I went in the middle, and I'm just like, I don't want to charge. I'm just going to sit in the middle and just see what the fuck happens. And yeah, it was awesome. Like right when the thing hit, that's when everybody just rushed from both sides and went in. And then, yeah, I went to another show. It was Straight Outta Hell Tour, I think it was called. It was headlined by Suicide Silence. Then I think it was Whitechapel, Carnifex, and Oceano. It was like, the big four of like, metal, like
Yeah.
Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer.
Yeah.
This is like the big four of deathcore, basically. And it was the shit.
I haven't heard from Whitechapel in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they dropped an album like a year or two ago, and I don't know what they're doing lately, but I think they're supposed to do a 10 years of a New Era Corruption tour from what my buddy told me. I got a buddy that lives out in basically their hometown or their home area and catches their shows. And I think they teased that they were going to do that tour, and then COVID hit. Because I caught the 10 years of Somatic Defilement, their first album.
Right.
And I caught A Decade of Exile, or The Decade of This Is Exile. That's probably my favorite album by them. That's their second album. And that was fucking awesome. But anyway, going back to the main topic.
Yeah.
Suicide Silence, they got a song called Disengage, and they play it every time they play live. And they do a wall of death every time. We're like, yeah, we're going to split the room. And, you know, when I do the countdown or when I say go, that's when you guys charge at each other. Well, it's funny because, you know, it builds up with a heavy, like, kind of slammy riff, I guess. Well, then it goes into a blast beat thing. And when you hear that part, that's when you think, fuck yeah, circle pit, let's run and spin. Like, that's my instinct when I hear that part. Circle pit or just start moshing and going nuts. Well, no, for some reason, they make you wait. Like, it's like, nope, not yet, not yet. And then when the part comes after, the double bass kicks, and that's just like, 3, 2, 1, go. Double bass starts rolling, then he rolls in with the lyrics, and everyone just charges at each other. But I don't know, they're crazy because it's just two walls of people just charging at each other. It's like, how are people not getting hurt? They're pretty intimidating. The one thing...
What happened, like, for... I can't think of a better term, the mechanics of the thing. Do they charge at each other and, like, start fucking hitting each other? Well, not hitting. You get what I'm saying, though. Is it like go into moshing again? Or
yeah.
Okay, word.
It's just a mosh pit that starts with the wall of death. The two sides charge each other and they kind of collide. And you know, people like no one's trying to swing each other's faces or nothing like that. I don't know what to do exactly when that happens. Like I just kind of like throw a shoulder. Like just kind of run. I'm running forward, and then I kind of turn sideways, and just kind of whatever happens, happens. Like I'm a skinny dude. I'm not an aggressor, but you know, I'll push people. I'm not the guy who's like charging at people. Like, hey, I see you and you see me, and I'm gonna fuck you up or whatever.
No, with mosh pits, I just do like momentum shit. I'll just bounce off of fucking people and not really. That's the most fun part of mosh pits, just bouncing off of people.
Right, getting pushed and pushing back. It's like a good way to relieve stress, and it's a good way to get your ass kicked without getting your ass kicked.
I can just shove this dude, and he's chill with it. It's expected that I shove him.
I always called it the human pinball effect. Well, I just call myself a human pinball. Like ding, 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 getting knocked around everywhere, racking up.
Until your drunk ass goes into that chicken wire cage thing at the lid. Because that place. We were moshing with each other actually at that pathology.
Yeah,
it's like pathology or mutilated, one of the two. But I remember, you know, like off to the side, they got that fucking booth. I kept getting scared. I was just gonna like take one wrong step because I was crossfaded that night. So I'm gonna go like through this fucking thing if I don't pay attention.
At least it didn't necessarily happen. I mean, it sounds like you ran into the wire. We didn't like go over or nothing like that.
No, I bumped into it a few times, but I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna go through the thing if I
those small venues kind of scare me. Like I can't remember if it was Gabe's or the Blue Moose in Iowa City, but you know, upstairs they got like it would have been Upper Gabe's. They got like a support beam towards the back, and people do a good idea of like trying to block that off, but I could just see someone getting fucked up, you know, running into that in a mosh pit or whatever. But yeah, the walls of death are really interesting. Like, the thing I have a love-hate relationship with, like I love them, but I also don't get the concept of them, are the circle pits that we mentioned earlier. Like everyone runs in a circle, but at the same time, there's people like pushing each other into each other, and it's like, man, you're just trying to trip people and fuck this whole thing up. So it's like, do you run in a circle or do you push people while you're running? Like, you know, it's kind of like a stampede that's going in a giant. But again, I love it. I love the dudes that stand in the middle and like, you know, they like do that arm gesture. They're like mixing the pot or whatever. But it's cool though, because like going back to the whole like hardcore dancers versus mosher thing, there's shows where they actually kind of get along. Where like, you know, hey, the dancers might be off to the left somewhere, so you know, don't go in that area. Or you know, like, hey, if a circle pit opens up, the dancers might respect it instead of, you know, stand in the middle trying to flail their arms like a dick. You know, they might stand in the middle and do the pot mixture thing.
Yeah,
you know, they might be off to the side, you know, egging it on or riding with. Like, I don't know, like there was a lot of beef in like the mid-teens and early teens, it seems, but it seems like lately, well, I mean, obviously because of COVID, but, you know, before COVID hit, it seemed like, you know, people were kind of like mellowing out and respecting each other more about the whole like dancing versus moshing thing. Like, you know, again, it's a matter of reading the room. But yeah, we totally got sidetracked from the bummer story. Oh yeah.
For like the third fucking time, too.
Well, I do want to sidetrack another quick second here about moshing. When I went to that
we'll be back on the bummer thing in like 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, but when I was at that Black Dahlia Murder show in 2013, there was a big dude there.
Right.
And I nicknamed him in my head the human bowling ball because this motherfucker would just charge. Like, he just, he'd go from one end of the pit and just run his way through. Like, he just kind of like, not really a jogging pace. He just go through it.
Just fucking sprint through.
Nobody could knock him over, and anybody that ran in him was just, you know, ricocheting off to the side. And I think I did actually see him go down once, and I was like, holy shit. But yeah, the bummer story. So this show was like, it was the Black Dahlia Murder headlining again. I think they were hyping up their new album at the time. I think it was maybe it was 2016. I can't remember anymore. I don't even know when I turned 21, but I was 20 at the time. I think they were hyping up an album they dropped, or just doing some kind of cross country tour run. And they had a few bands underneath them that I didn't really recognize them. One of them ended up actually being from like Indonesia or something like that, or somewhere overseas. Yeah, and they weren't bad. They're kind of like a typical death metal band. Like each song starts off with like and then blast beat, kind of deal. But I mean,
kind of cool, but nothing like special.
Yeah, but they still crushed it. They did a good job, and I did a little bit of moshing. Well, then what happened was, I didn't have my contacts yet, and I still don't wear contacts anymore. I had them for a few years, and then just like, whatever.
I tried them in 2017, and I can't put shit in my eye. It just like...
I had that problem for the longest time.
I was sitting in the optometrist's office for like an hour trying to get it, and you could tell they were getting kind of short with me, so I was like... How about I just take these home, okay? But they're like, oh, well, we can't let you take them home until you prove you can get it in and out. I'm like, oh, shit. Let me just come back then. And then I just never came back.
That happened to me the first time when I was still in high school. My mom was like, yeah, let's get you contacts. I'm like, all right, I'm about it because, I'm getting kind of tired of wearing glasses all the time. And contacts are nice. They're great. You could, like, lay down or, do whatever without worrying about messing your glasses up. And, you have to make sure you take them out at the end of the night. And I guess if you leave them in overnight, it's not the end of the world, but, you still want to get them out. And, just baby them for a couple weeks, and they'll last a while. You can make them last a month each.
Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah.
We caught ourselves.
Didn't have my contacts yet, so I always left my glasses in the truck. And I go inside, borderline blind isn't bad. I can't read that much from a distance. I can't see shit on the stage.
Wait, are you, like, nearsighted, too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same here.
But I could see who's in front of me at a mosh pit, read shirts in front of me. But, like, half the time I couldn't read a banner up there. I couldn't read any signs anywhere. But, so I go into the venue. And it was Woolies in Des Moines, and it was like that the front area where it's like where some of the merchant stuff was. They have an ATM, and then they got the main door where the bouncer lets you through, and then you go inside and do whatever. So I catch the first band, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna grab my wallet, hit that ATM, and get some money out and buy some merch. So then I leave, go to my truck real quick to grab my wallet, go back in. And I put my glasses back on, too, so, I can actually see and see if I can recognize any of the members and whatnot. Well, I go back in, I get some money out of the ATM, and I'm about to go back to the main area, and the bouncer's like, wait, did you leave and come back in? I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, oh, I can't let you back in. I was like, why? What the fuck? And he's like, oh, yeah, it's our policy. Anyone who's under 21 can't get back in after 8:30. And I was like, I almost wanted to go off, but he's just doing his job. So I was just like, I'm just sitting there like fuming, and I just said out loud, I was like, what the fuck, man? So I just like walked out, just pissed off. And
at least you didn't go full Karen on him.
Yeah, I mean,
you're suppressing my rights.
Yeah, I mean, I commented on the Black Dahlia Murders thing because a buddy of mine's just like, oh yeah, I tried to get your money back. So I just commented like, yeah, it would have been nice to catch you guys last night, but couldn't get back in for some stupid reason. Fuck me for not being able to see. But so yeah, I went back to the hotel too because I checked into a little hotel because I always did that. I always tried to stay the night instead of driving back because it's a 3-hour drive. But I don't know, like the last few years, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not paying for a hotel. I'm just gonna drive back.
I did that in Milwaukee. I was seeing those guys in Milwaukee in 17.
Yeah,
I got home. I got back into Dubuque at like 3 in the fucking morning. I was like, I'm not gonna pay for a hotel. I couldn't afford a hotel because broke college student that had just enough money, but I can't afford a hotel, so I'm just gonna drive to Milwaukee, go to a 3-hour show, and then turn around and come back home. Like it's fucking nothing.
I got a late night story for you as well. After this one, if I ever finish it. Nah, I'm pretty much at the tail end of it. Yeah, so couldn't get back in. Went back to my hotel and just checked out. And the guy's like, "Oh, leaving already?" Like, yeah, I got no reason to stay. And couldn't get back into the venue, so I'm just Des Moines. You took my money. Fuck you. You win this round. I'm leaving. My mom's like, "You're not." I'm texting my mom like, "Yeah, I'm on my way home." Well, you're not gonna stay there? Why? I'm like, "There's no fucking reason to." Like, I'm just gonna go home and just have a decent night. Went to my buddy's house and hung out with him. But whatever. It's a drive, I guess. And so yeah, the late night story. This is like one of Tamara's first shows. I think we just changed our name from Renditions of Reality to Tamara.
Right.
Divine, when we saw Divine. For how many years? See, because we played our one and only shows Renditions of Reality in the basement. And then after that, we had a show booked in Milwaukee for a Rock Hunger benefit. And this is like, I think,
I remember seeing that. Oh, different thing then. Different thing.
I mean, we played Rock Hunger again like a year later, I think, in 2015.
I remember something being promoted there in 2018, 2017, something like that. But it might have been one of you guys going to Whitechapel or some shit in Milwaukee.
It might have been. I might have shared a post about going up there for that show or something.
Yeah.
But well, we did play. I think we played. Yeah, we played Milwaukee.
It was some benefit for some dude or.
Oh yeah, you might be thinking of. I think it was the tail end of 2019.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, we played that. We. I mean, it definitely wasn't with Whitechapel, nothing like that. But yeah, it was a benefit for a booker out there. His car broke down, and he was pretty strapped for cash. So like, yeah, they're just gonna do a benefit for him, raise as much money as possible, help him get a new ride. And yeah, we're like, yeah, we'll play that. Why the hell not? We don't care about getting paid. Let's just get out there and play a show. And we actually hit it off with a couple bands too. And we had them set to play our release show for Sinking, and then COVID hit, so that wasn't happening. But
fucking COVID.
There was one band from I think it was A Coupe de Grace. They were from, I think they're from Green Bay or something like that. They're from like northern Wisconsin. It's like a 4-hour drive from where we were, and they're like, yeah, man, we're down to make the drive and play that show. Fuck yeah! And then Next to Eternity, they're a pretty good band too. They're from like outer Chicago, I think. We were talking to them about playing a show as well, and they played a show back in like January or something, January or December, right before COVID hit,
right,
at the Blue Room. So it's cool catching them again and hanging out with them for a bit. But the late night show.
Yeah, late night show.
Rock Hunger, Milwaukee, like early mid 2014. My girlfriend at the time wanted to come along too, so I was like, yeah, I'll bring you with, and drop you off on the way back, and then go back home and crash out. And originally, I think we were supposed to go on at like 8, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I get out there, I'm setting my kit up, and everything's running a little behind schedule, but whatever. So we didn't go on till like I think 8:30. We played our set. Well, there was another guy there as I was setting up who was a drummer, and he's like, yeah, man, like I don't know how you do this as a drummer, but he didn't have his kit. And he's like, would it be okay if I used your drums, or I think no, he didn't need my kit. He just needed some cymbals because he forgot his cymbals.
Right.
Yeah, because what they had a setup where they had a drum kit provided. Mm-hmm. So I was like, cool, I'll definitely bring my own cymbals and stands because I could just fit that all in the back of I had a 2001 GMC Sonoma, and it was a short cab, like no room at all in that fucking thing. So like, but I had a toolbox in the back. So the toolbox I put my stands in, my cymbal stands, and then the cymbal bag I could fit behind the bench seats. So it all worked out. And then so I'm setting up my cymbals, and the guy's like, yeah, would you be okay if I used like one or two of your cymbals? And I was like, you know what? Why the fuck not? And so I think they were the band after us, and maybe the one that was the second one after us. But we played our set. We had a good set. We did like an interview for a ladies podcast, and that was pretty cool because we never did any interviews at all. So we did an interview for this ladies podcast, and then we also did an interview for their school newspaper, which is kind of funny because like he recorded the whole interview, right? And then the article itself was like just basically talking about the bands that came out, and then it was hilarious because Zarbs was like, yeah, they used a quote that I didn't even say, and it was a quote like, yeah, it was just a really great time that all the bands got to come out and meet up and play a show for a really good cause. And Zarbs was like, yeah, I didn't once say anything like that. Like the guy was just asking about us and all that, but it was like he used none of that audio at all, so it'd be kind of cool to get our hands on that audio. But yeah, so anyway, we go back and the one dude's band is playing, and he wasn't even using the cymbals. They were playing that one song. I don't know what it's called. It was a big song like how many years ago about like being happy. Like, so if you clap along if you feel.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know the rest of the words of this chorus, but and the lady's just saying like happy, like in the background. They were playing that song. Well, the dude wasn't touching the drums at all. He was just sitting there clapping along. And it was funny because I heard him sound checking before we did an interview. I'm like, hey, this drummer sounds like he's pretty kick-ass. But then we had to do our interview, so I didn't catch a set. But, the last song is just them clapping along. Like, he could have at least, like, played the hi-hats and the snare.
Yeah.
Along with the beat and shit like that. Like,
just take the fucking kick. Take the kick out of the equation for a minute or something. Yeah.
Oh, you could still use a kick for that one. Just like, a simple hi-hat, snare, kick beat,
Yeah.
I guess it would be a little tricky. Maybe just in practice or nothing. I don't know. But, not dogging the guy. It's just like I walked down, like, really, you need my cymbals to not use them? But then the set gets done. And, like, the drum kit they had, they provided, like, I think hi-hats and a cymbal. Or, like, they were B8 Pro crashes. And I used, like, Sabians. And I had a couple Zildjians with me. I eventually got my kit to be all Sabian cymbals. Like, I think I have all Sabian now, including my ride. Except for when I'm on the road. I use one of my old Zildjian
It's, like, better
rides.
quality?
Huh?
Are those better quality than the Zildjians?
I think they're about even. Like from my experience, the Zildjians seem to crack a little quicker, but they still sound good. I'm not dogging Zildjian. And I guess funny enough, Sabian and Zildjian are like, I guess technically the same company. Like they're owned by the same people.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
yeah.
like-
So you're not gonna get much difference there.
It's one of those things. It's like, you know,
Brand
Chevy versus GMC. It's the same damn thing.
fucking thing, yeah.
one just rusts a little quicker. But, I guess that's kind of my comparison is like the Zildjians, in my opinion, they seem to like fade and kind of lose their color quicker and they crack quicker. Granted, I always bought them used. I never bought like a new Zildjian. But any of them I bought, I always liked the sound of them. They just always seem to crack quicker. But the sound of their rides, their ZBT rides, I just love the sound of that ride. The ting of the ride and the built-in bell they got. It's a good sound, and it took me a while to find a Sabian that like sounded just as good, if not better. Because the Sabian rides, they just sound like heavier and thicker for some reason. But I think I have a Zildjian bell too. I think it's the only other Zildjian I got now. But I ended up finding a good ride like last summer. I got it for a steal too at Guitar Center in like Dayton, Ohio. It was originally a $300 cymbal.
Fuck were you doing in Dayton, Ohio?
My dad lives out
Oh.
there, so I was visiting. Yeah, otherwise,
Fair.
what the fuck would I do out there? But yeah, my dad lives in the outskirts of Dayton, so I went to the Dayton Mall down the road from him. You know, because we'll check out music stuff every now and then.
I'm sorry, I
And,
just can't get past that. It's the thought.
Yeah,
Just
of all
assume your
places,
dad
Dayton.
does it, and like, yeah, of all the fucking places, I'm gonna go to Ohio.
Yeah, I was there on vacation. Just felt like going to Dayton. You know, check out the scenery.
Yeah.
Which is
I want to see the factory.
nothing. Well, they
the
do.
railroad.
They have a badass Air Force museum out there. They have Wright-Patterson Air Force Base out there.
Oh fuck yeah!
And so they have the United States Air Force Museum, the official Air Force Museum, the biggest one in the world, I think, too. And they have like a whole collection of their planes from like, you know, the start of aviation up to like modern day fighter jets. I don't know if they have an F-35 in there yet, but you know, they have like a B-2 bomber.
All right,
in there.
I rescind my comment about Dayton then.
Yeah, no, it's a sick ass museum, and we go there almost every year because I'm a nerd for fighter jets. I love fighter jets. I always had a fascination.
My
with them.
friend that lives over in Sweden, actually, he told me that they store their fighter jets in the mountains.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
there's
it's a
like
Cold War
there's a
thing.
fucking like it was a Cold War thing, and there's like caves and shit. And
Yeah.
they still do it.
They
He
get
told me
ta-
they still store their fighter jets in the mountains.
They
But
could taxi them onto a highway and take off. Like in a moment's notice, they could shut the highway down real quick and take a fighter jet off, which I think is badass. And granted, they kind of need that
Yeah.
advantage since like the USSR was right there. So
And-
like they launch a missile or do whatever, you have
Yeah.
like minutes to react.
you
and
gotta
that's it.
fucking like
That's actually funny enough. I hate to get sidetracked. That's one of the Destroy the Deserving
Oh, that's
songs I'm
good.
writing. I have like the song itself written and a lot of the lyrics, but the lyric is just about like, okay, well the nuclear missiles have been launched, so like humanity's just gonna go crazy until they hit. And it's actually a pretty well thought out
There you
song
go. Fuck
lyrically.
yeah.
Like I have a little part where like, you know, it's kind of like a presidential speech thing, and I think I might like feature different vocals to do like the lines of what the president will be saying for that verse or whatever.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
a good
kinda
idea.
Cool. Thanks. I want to get that ball rolling, but I just keep getting sidetracked, or you know, I'm lazy as well. I bought an audio box for my computer, and all I did was just game on it instead. Like, I bought a PC back in November, and all I've done on it is just play video games. Even though I bought an audio box for it, but it's like, man, Arma 3's just got me hooked right now.
Well, I bought,
and that's the little
I
bit of
bought
free
this
time I
fucking
got.
thing off my friend, and it's because producing on the laptop, it's such a hit to the CPU.
Oh God,
and
yeah.
that thing's got a bunch of fucking RAM, and yeah, it just times out that I burned myself out with music. So now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just playing fucking video games on it.
Oh yeah, doing stuff on a laptop's a nightmare too. Like, granted, our demos are on like an Apple MacBook, so like that can handle it. But like, I had like a Lenovo laptop that I was like just trying to do video editing on, and I did it
Right.
with like Monica, which is like a free video editing thing. So I tried doing a YouTube thing. I might get that going again. I don't know, but I made a playthrough series of Ace Combat 7, and then I did like a handful of Need for Speed 2015 videos, and I started playing Heat, and then Twitch was screwing with me too because I'm lazy and like I kind of go against the copyright stuff, which is not good. So like,
Right.
I keep the music playing in the background. I wouldn't kill it because it's like, man, what's the point of making a playthrough video if there's no music playing in the background?
I did
You
a
know,
remake.
no game music pumping it up.
I did a
And,
remake of a song in NFL, and Facebook copyright striked it because it's copyright. I'm like, what? No.
Isn't it like a fair use thing though, or like if you just
No,
use like a
like
sample
I
of it or
no, I
something?
didn't use any of the same sounds. It was
Oh,
my
like-
own like, hey,
a whole cover.
no, well, just
In a
it
way.
was like an electronic, so it was just like the drop, right? But I sat down for like an hour, figured out the melody, and I figured out the layering and like all this shit, but I didn't use any of the same. It didn't sound anything like it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "This is copyrighted content." I'm like, "No, it's fucking not."
I mean, like if you like, you know, covered the song but did it like, you know, a different sound and all that, that's still fair use as long as you're not like selling the music or whatever. Like
just posting it on my feed. What are they fucking care?
I think the law goes where like if you cover a song that was originally by someone else, like you can't make money off it, and if you do, then you got to pay them royalties and set that up or get permission or something like that. But if you just put it out there for free, then it's just fair game.
What are royalties? God.
Yeah. Musicians get royalties anymore? I thought everyone just uses Spotify.
I have like around 300, 200 or 300 streams on all my material.
Oh, wow.
Cumulatively. It sounds impressive, but it's actually not because there's a higher quantity of it. But I have 55 cents from streaming from that shit. But yeah, I looked at their number. It's like 1/8 of a cent or some shit.
Yeah.
Ridiculous shit like that.
I mean, Spotify's a good platform to get your name out there, but it doesn't pay you. But, if you find the fans that like your stuff and financially support you off that, then it's kind of a win-win, I guess. Because, I try to...
Now announcing Tumera's OnlyFans account.
Wait, that's supposed to be private.
We weren't ready to announce that yet.
Man, that'd be something to Tamara OnlyFans. Well, I mean, I guess, from what Evan tells me, OnlyFans is an artist thing, but, sex workers just kind of hijacked it because they can.
Yeah, like fucking deviant art. It was supposed to be for independent artists, and then the fucking the perverts hijacked the thing.
That's another name I saw, deviant art. I always thought it was deviant or something. Maybe we're both wrong. Maybe it's like Deviant.
Deviant, yeah, it's a French deviant.
Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce that word. Like deviant, deviant. Like English is weird, man. But damn, what was I talking about?
Bummer story, late night show.
Late night Milwaukee show. That's what it was. I let the dude use my symbols and all that. So it comes to because I was talking about the symbols. It got sidetracked by that. So the guy has the kid had a couple B8 Pro symbols provided. And so the guy's tearing his stuff down, or he hands me a symbol that wasn't mine. It was one that was with the kit, and I was like, "Yo, that's not my symbol." And I looked on the kit real quick. I was like, "Shit, one of my symbols are still on there." So I'm like, "What the hell is this guy doing? Like, doesn't even know what equipment he's borrowing." But I swapped that out real quick because I'm not trying to steal a brand new symbol, especially for a hunger benefit. Like it's pretty fucked up. And B, I'm not even trying to accidentally do that. I'm just trying to make sure I got all my shit. And make sure they still got all their stuff and call it good. So then, I left Milwaukee probably we tried to wrap it up around 9:30 and left around 10.
Right.
So and meanwhile, all the other guys had work off. They partied, and I kind of regret, bailing out on that because I was just like, well, gotta work. But because I could have partied with them. Instead, I didn't. But, I made the drive back and dropped my ex off at her house. And then a buddy of mine called me up, and he was like, "Yo, I still got my tank top in your truck." Because we went to a concert a month or two beforehand, and you got a Whitechapel tank top there. So he was like, "Yo, you still got my tank top? You think you can meet me somewhere and drop it off?" I'm like, "Dude, it's 1 in the fucking morning. This is really urgent. Right? You know what? Fuck it. I'll go to the Hardee's. It's a few blocks away from me." He's like, "Yeah, cool. I'll be there in a little bit." And I'm like, "Awesome." So I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting for 20 fucking minutes. And then finally he pulls up. Swap the shirt. We bullshit for 10 minutes or so. And, and then, I eventually take off. And meanwhile, I lived outside of town, so I had another 20-minute drive to get home.
Right.
And, man, it was 1:30 in the morning, and I crashed out. I think I still went to work the next day, too, because I didn't request off because I didn't think I'd be back that late.
Right.
But funny enough, I had a similar...
All right, we ran out of memory. We're back. Okay.
We're going so long, we ran out of space.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, funny enough, I had the same kind of story when I saw that Black Dahlia murder show back in 2013 or 14 or whatever that was. Came home. I think the same buddy of mine met up for a second there too. But I go to Iowa City, see that show, and I ended up going later than I thought. It ended 11:30. So I was like, well, now I got to drive home an hour and a half. Made it home close to 1. Bullshit with my buddy for 20 minutes when he pulled up to my house for a little bit. So I think I also had something to his that time too. Or I don't know. Or maybe he was paying me back for something. I can't remember. But, did that. Went inside. And I don't even know if I took a shower. I think I just went right to bed because, had to wake up at 5 to go to work, or 5:30 to go to work. And I was like, man, why do I do this to myself? But, yeah, that was that one. So we extended the audio for that little tidbit there.
There we go. Fuck. All right, everybody. Chris Pendergraft, Tumera. They have an EP coming out soon. Listen to Sinking. It's on. Is it on Spotify?
Oh yeah, we got Sinking on Spotify. We got them uploaded to YouTube. We got a few music videos up there as well. It's spelled TU apostrophe MERA, And you might want to type in sinking, because otherwise you might have a bunch of Spanish stuff pop up. But, yeah, just type in sinking. You'll see a music video for sinking, or, you know, something like that. You know, we're on Facebook. We got like 1,000 likes. We actually just dropped the lineup photo because we just became a 5-piece. We got another guitar player in. You know, the curse of the rhythm guitarist, I think, is now over. So that's
There we
awesome.
go.
He's been committed. He's been showing up. He's been learning all this stuff, including new stuff. So, like, pumped on that end and be a full 5-piece. We had another rhythm guitarist back in the day too for like a year or so. And that was awesome too. But yeah, we got a permanent 5-man roster. We're on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun jazz.
Word.
We got another EP from a couple years back before it all went quiet. Check that out as well. We got an old one too. Kind of rough for quality, but you know, it's still up there. It's on we're on Bandcamp too. That's where you'll find our very first stuff on Bandcamp. We got that for free too, so check that out. We got a remaster of a song off that's up there on Bandcamp for free. So, you know, download it, listen to it, check it out, support us, support the podcast.
Yeah.
Support everything.
Support everything.
Everything is supported.
There's a lot of jokes.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
I'm fucking exhausted. All right, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.